Hey there, folks. Welcome to our run of Monsterhearts by Avery Alder. As part of the Gauntlet Reading Club, we'll be drawing on Shannon McGuire's Every Heart a Doorway for inspiration. I want to open with a quick round of introductions before getting into things. I'm Steven, he, him. I am GMing this run of Monsterhearts. If you want to find me, you can look me up at Steven Alligator, but you'll mostly find me posting with updates about this, so there won't be much there. If we could go around by, let's go with reverse character keeper order this time around, and start us off on Jason. David, if you want to introduce yourself and who you are playing.
Yeah, hi, my name is David. I use he, him pronouns, and I am playing Jason, who also uses he, him pronouns. Jason is in the Siren playbook, which is one of the books in the Skin Deep collection of additional skins for Monsterhearts. Yeah, so Jason was a sort of kid from a fairly kind of respectable family. He was always kind of a quiet kid at school, but had a real passion for singing, music in general, singing in particular. One day when he was sort of out, singing, sitting in a field somewhere near his house, he was carried off by a flock of songbirds who took him to Mount Olympus, where he was kind of trained and taken on as an entertainer to the gods. He performed there for a very vague and indistinct amount of time in the land above the clouds. But once on his return, well, I should say, while there, he was ejected from the halls of power by a god who was jealous of the attention that he was garnering with his voice, with his performances. So they threw him out of Olympus back to the mortal realms. I think I've decided that the god in question was probably Apollo. It seems like an appropriate god to have been jealous of him. On his return, he's sort of been chasing that high, as it were, the adulation of the crowd, the adoration, the respect that he was held in. When he first returned, after having been missing for some time, he kept kind of running away from home, essentially, again to sort of sneak into clubs to perform, to get that attention going again, until finally he was packed off to the school in order to try and curb his wayward tendencies. He is now somewhat begrudgingly settling into life at the school, but still very much trying to keep himself as a center of attention.
Hi, I'm Kay. I use she, they pronouns, and I will be playing Bailey/Baron, he, him. He is our infernal who went to the belonging outside of belonging world, where he became entangled with his dark master and sort of lost who he was as Baron, as a sort of alpha male jock kind of individual, quarterback-esque, to Bailey, who's a lot more demure and a lot more docile. And I'll leave it at that, and we'll see how it plays out between there and what was referenced in the last video.
Cool. And then our Sabine, if you want to introduce yourself and who you are playing.
Yeah, my name is Celine. I use any pronouns, and I am going to play Leigh, who uses they, them pronouns. Leigh went to the Carnival of Sorrows, where they became a sweeper who cleaned up after the carnival goers who lost their unwanted emotions. And the sweepers were quiet people who performed their duties and, yeah, didn't raise a lot of fuss. They were just, and Dee was quite happy there. They felt accepted and liked. But then they saw one of the carnival goers who reminded them of their mother, and they followed, and that was not a good idea because that led them back to the real world with their noisy family that constantly forgot that Leigh was existed or was there or had something to say. Or just wanted a bit of peace and quiet and not be included, but then ignored. It was a lot. And since Leigh always seemed to fade from awareness a lot, and their parents were a bit worried, they put them into that school in the hope that that could fix their child, and maybe they would be a happy little child again like they had been before. Not really, but yeah, parents, the lies they tell themselves. Leigh wants to go back to being a sweeper, by the way, really badly, but well.
Cool. And finally, we bring in our final player character who was not with us last week. Marleigh, if you want to introduce yourself and who you're playing.
Yes, I'm Marleigh, she, her pronouns, and I am playing Grace, also she, her pronouns. Grace was actually inspired by a comment a friend of mine made, which was, it's not so much that I mind that I'm blind, it's that I mind that I live in a world for the sighted. And it's like, that could be interesting for a character. So here we have Grace. She has albinism and she is blind. And so this world is not really great for such people. And so the world she ended up in is called Oubliette, which was an underground society where the keepers whom she lived with were also blind. And so suddenly she was in this situation where everything was sort of easier because it was just everything was designed for people like her, and that was just a really rewarding feeling. Also, Oubliette, maybe people who are gamers might recognize that it's not just an underground society, it's also kind of like one of those dungeons that you might see in a dungeon crawl where adventurers come and try and kill the dragon and loot the stuff, and someone has to maintain those dungeons, and that's what the keepers do. So she also has knowledge of trap making and stuff like that. Anyway, one thing led to another, and she's back, and she is angry because she does not like it here. She really fit in well with the keepers. She loved it there, and she is very resentful to have been pushed out, and she is desperate to find her way back.
This game is hosted through the Gauntlet. The Gauntlet is an online gaming community mostly focusing on role-playing games of the indie and OSR varieties. Besides publishing a zine called The Codex, it also puts out several podcasts about role-playing games, and of course, it organizes a gaming calendar, which this and many other games are organized through every month. The calendar is open to non-members, so feel free to jump on over there through the link below if you're interested in playing with any of the folks here tonight or any of the other people on the Gauntlet. All Gauntlet games make use of an open door policy. If for any reason you need to leave the table, whether it's for your comfort or because something is happening in the world outside of the game, feel free. If you can let us know when and if you'll be coming back, that's helpful for us in terms of framing scenes, but sometimes emergencies happen and it's not always possible, so we understand if you're unable to do that. Besides the open door, we'll also be making use of several other safety tools, which most of the table here are familiar with, so I won't be going into too much detail about. But we will be making use of the X card if anything makes you uncomfortable at the table, and feel free to make an X sign either into chat saying the X card, making an X with your arms, any of that. And we'll ask what needs to be what you're X carding, but we'll excise it from the fiction without any questions asked, no questions asked. We'll also be making use of script change, which is a set of terms we use to discuss play. Pause, which involves us taking a break, talking about where the fiction is at. Fast forward, maybe we're focusing in too much detail on something, and you want us to kind of move on past that and close out the scene. Rewind, where we go backwards in time and maybe retcon something into the fiction. And frame by frame, where is basically a reminder to us to turn the safety tools up to max for a scene, regularly check in that everyone is okay. I haven't frequently used that last one because of the other safety tools, but it's something that might come up if we decide that there's a scene that makes us all very uncomfortable, but we still want to do it anyway for whatever reason. It is just a reminder to us to be very careful in that scene and make certain that everyone feels safe. Finally, we'll be making use of lines and veils. Lines and veils are a safety tool that involve us putting together a living document before each session that reminds us of certain subjects to pay close attention to, either keeping them out of the fiction entirely, as with lines, or keeping them within the fiction, but not going into detail about them, as with veils. And so that takes us through kind of our opening spiel. And so I want to ask Grace if you could hop on over, and really the rest of us as well, to our kind of homeroom that your characters share. I'm wondering where Grace, of the remaining seats there, you see up there is Mr. Montgomery, the teacher for this particular class. But where is Grace seated?
She's probably fairly close to the door, so I'm going to put her behind Helen. Who's Helen, by the way?
If you mouse over, it's also over in the NPC tab. Helen is actually Mr. Montgomery's twin sister. But she was in another world for a long time, so they're now very different in ages. But she is very protective of Mr. Montgomery. She is very suspicious of Bailey because he's a little bit too into being teacher's pet. And she has the ability to pluck at people's strings and see what makes them, what they're most afraid of.
Yeah, is the older twin sister, so it's a little weird because now he's like probably in his late 20s or early 30s or something,
Yeah.
and she's still like a young teen.
Exactly. Cool, but Grace is seated there, and I'm wondering to kind of flesh us out here a little bit more. Who do you think is seated at that desk, kind of behind you and to the left? That one between Kieran. Is it Kieran? No, it's Kieran. Kieran and Ian.
This is for me?
Yes.
Oh, I'm inventing characters.
Yep, we did some last session, but so I thought so. But we left some seats open to have you bring some add some folks to our homeroom.
Let me glance through the character keepers. Oh, a witch. We don't have a witch yet. Let's have a witch. What's her name? Oh, wait, there's suggested names. I'll just look at one of those. See. Gerard. Gerard the witch.
Cool. And Gerard's pronouns are
He, they.
cool. So yeah, I'm wondering. You say Gerard is the witch. Are they like from like a very kind of witchy world, or is this more of like some like pre-Christian like pagan other world?
So yeah, they went to a place with magic, and seems to have and claims that they had really vast powers when they were in their other world, and seems to have much less now, but still can do a couple of things. Everyone's a little unclear exactly how much they can do.
Cool. I'm wondering, Jason, how has Gerard given you a run for the money of being the most popular kid in this class? Oh, that was just you pounding your fist. How dare they?
Indeed. I think they're like the I think that they're like the school fixer. They're the ones that can get, illicit goods of whatever stripe, and so yeah, their popularity is possibly a bit more mercenary isn't the right word, transactional, I guess. Yeah.
Cool. Awesome. And yeah, I'm wondering if you could, because we'll need to finish off this Jason constellation here. Who's seated in front of you, Jason?
I think that is I'll say that's Luce, as in Luz, who uses she, her pronouns, and I think that she. I'm just making sure I'm not duplicating anything I did last time. Yeah, I think that she is. I think that she went to a very like Narnia-esque world, did the whole chosen princess type arc while she was there.
Cool. And I'm hearing she, her is what we're going with for her?
Yes, that's right. Yep.
Cool. Cool. Yeah, I'm gonna ask Grace. What about her pisses you off that no one else seems to notice?
She is constantly leaving her bag in the aisle, and Grace has tripped on it a bazillion times, and Luz always apologizes. Oh, I'm so sorry, in this really fakey voice, and then never fixes it. Does it every single day.
I think there's a good chance that Bailey has just started to move her bag.
Cool. And maybe let's introduce one more character, and then I think we'll kind of jump in here. I'm wondering, Leigh, who is seated to your right here at the back of the class?
It's Leigh, but yeah.
Oh, sorry, Leigh. Right, Leigh. Sorry,
It's fine.
I made a note here. I made a note, and then I just didn't look at it to remind myself of the pronunciation.
It's fine. Yeah, I think the kid's name is Sunny. She, her pronouns, and Sunny went to a pirate world. She's a pirate princess. Yeah, she stole a lot of stuff there. May still steal a lot of stuff here. Yeah, the way she came out is pretty unclear why she even got sent back, but it had to do with the British, I think. Yeah, had to do with the British. Sorry, Dave.
Most things do. Most things do.
Is she constantly challenging Ian to duels because he's British?
She wouldn't challenge people. She's a pirate, not a musketeer. I mean, she might try to put Ian in stupid situations where he looks like a Ponce, but she wouldn't challenge people to duel. She's a pirate. She steals stuff. She doesn't duel people, unless she has to, of course.
Oh yeah, I'm wondering. I'll just throw this out. What is what like secret passion does she share with Grace? Because she's a pirate princess, so she can't be seen liking just anything.
Secret passion, like they share the same weird hobby or something like that?
Yeah.
Is that what you're thinking? Okay.
Mm-hmm. Hobby, I don't know. Maybe she likes the same obscure anime as Grace. I don't know.
They both like embroidery. They have a little sewing circle.
Awesome. Great. Awesome. And one thing I actually wanted to ask folks, because we are playing in a world that is inspired by, and we're not necessarily keeping to the exact like narrative, to the narrative of, we're not keeping to the narrative of the original books, because it would be, we already read those stories, so that would be not interesting. I'm wondering, what is the name for our school? Because I realize we haven't really named it. Are we just taking the name from the book, or do folks have like an idea they wanted to give for it?
Open Door Academy.
Yeah, that works. I was going to say I'm good with either sticking with the canon school, or going for something different. But I don't have any immediate ideas for that something different.
Cool.
But yeah, I like the Open Door Academy as a name.
Sure.
It's cool.
Let me just make a quick note of that over in our NPC tab so we have it on hand. And I don't forget it by next session. Awesome. But yeah, so I think kind of jumping into things here, I think that it is an kind of autumn morning at the Open Door Academy, and class has not yet begun, but kids are beginning to filter into the homeroom class. And I'm wondering, who is it that, how as we kind of do our sort of kind of beginning of series sort of like kind of playing through like our images of the characters, how do we open to each of you as you kind of arrive in class, or like otherwise are occupying yourself around around the school? And I'm wondering if we could go kind of by character keeper order this time, if you wanted to open us up here, Grace. You are muted if you're saying something.
Yeah. So this is them coming into the classroom and stuff, or?
Yeah.
Okay. So Grace is dressed in black, which is her preferred color because it shows fewer stains and stuff. She's got her cane, though she's walking fairly confidently, just tapping enough to make sure no one that stupid Luz did not drop her purse somewhere again. And she finds her seat fairly quickly. She's got see, did she use headphones? Did she just say screw you? Yeah, maybe she just says screw you. Okay, so she's also listening to her email, which she does with her phone, which is but it's going at such a fast pace that like nobody can understand it but her.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and how do we open to see Leigh coming into class?
I think it's almost, imagine if this was some sort of TV show, and you show the classroom and you see Grace, and then you camera pans around and you see a picture on the wall and you see some computer standing over there. The camera always kind of slides past Leigh because there is, oh, there's a picture on the wall and there's somebody there, and there, look, there is a skeleton for anatomical purposes, I assume, on the right wall. And then the camera always slides over Leigh and you don't really notice that they are there. Leigh is usually pretty early to class, just so nobody sits on their desk, because people tend to forget that they're there and that this is their desk and not anybody else's. They have put up a sign, colorful sign. The camera notices that at first, that says, "I'm here, hello." Yeah. And the camera pans up and shows Leigh looking, well, kind of not particularly looking at some book or something that they have to read.
Mm-hmm. Then just pans back down to the sign, which is the more interesting thing to focus on. And then, yeah, Bailey.
Yeah, so I think Bailey comes in rather early, not wanting to be late. And I think we get him sort of coming in, sort of hunched a little, collar not as prominently shown, as he's got like the sort of layering of the hoodie and the jacket and things like that. And you can tell he's having a rough morning because he's staring at the desk and the chair for the desk and doesn't seem to be able to will himself to sit in a chair today and mess that up. It's something he's probably been working on, and the school maybe has been trying to get him to work on a bit because it does seem a bit disruptive for life. And he's just staring at it with just these wide eyes that are a little glassy because it seems like trying to climb mountains staring at this chair for him right now.
Cool. And then what about Jason?
Yeah, I think when we see Jason, I think it's he's sat like out just on the lip of a fountain in sort of the forecourt of the school. It's got that kind of dusting of autumn leaves over it, and he's kind of noodling away on an acoustic guitar, and just kind of like very like improvisational kind of classical guitar type playing that's clearly in a sort of is it pentatonic scale, sort of Greek scales that he's sort of playing through. And I think as the bell rings, he sort of very deliberately finishes up the piece he's playing before kind of hopping off the fountain and making his way to class. And enters, probably slightly late, and takes his seat, saying kind of good morning to people as he passes.
Cool. And I think as like the teacher's kind of going through the morning roll call and is arranging his notes, I think that looking at our characters here, I think that it's Helen that comes over to your desk, Jason, and she kind of looks, you have your guitar with you, right? I think she looks at your guitar and says, so were you out practicing a little too long again?
I was hardly practicing long enough. All of these, he'll sort of wave a hand around the classroom. Lessons really do get in the way.
Mm-hmm. And she kind of nods and gives, well, I think that she nods and gives, you really should at least try a little, Jason. I mean, you can't coast on those curls forever.
I'm reckoning I can do for long enough. And he'll kind of give her a very wide but very obviously fake smile.
Mm-hmm.
And
well, I think that she kind of nods and says, fair enough, I guess. Look, the reason I came over here is that me and some friends are arranging a kind of, and I'm curious, where is because of course there is an unofficial place to kind of have parties here on campus or near campus. Where is that, Jason?
I think it's the boathouse, because this feels like the sort of school that has a boathouse.
Cool. Over at the boathouse, and we were wondering if you could provide a little of your could make an appearance with those curls of yours and that guitar and give a performance.
And I think he'll kind of give a big yawn and sort of stretch back as he's very much sort of drapes himself in his chair rather than kind of sitting in it bolt upright, and says, I suppose I could find some time. It would make it would bring a little relief to the tedium.
I do think she gives you an eye there and is like, dude, you're 16. How old are you actually?
Yes, somewhere in that sort of area, I think.
Like, dude, you're 16. Maybe try doing the rocker burnout. Maybe try to avoid doing the rock boy burnout for like another decade at least. And I'm wondering, Bailey, are you you're here for this, right? Because of course you want to be on time for Mr. Montgomery's class.
Oh yeah, Bailey's just like he's listening, but it's also just like he's just sort of standing and he's sort of looking to where the Mr. Montgomery would be, to the chair, to Mr. Montgomery, to the chair. It just looks kind of lost, and a little unsure what to do here, because he's having a time, but he's also listening in about the party and the fact that they're bickering, which he hates, because if Helen's in a bad mood, that probably won't mean good things for him.
Oh, does it matter that she's in a bad mood, though? This party sounds like something that you should definitely go to. Says that little voice at the back of your head.
Yeah, and I think Bailey sort of takes a couple steps closer away from the conundrum that is desk and chair, and says, excuse me, is this an open invitation party for the school? Or is this something a little more private?
Oh, and I think Helen looks at you. Bailey, you're not going to be busy chasing after someone to tell you what to do tonight?
And he kind of flushes a little and is like, no, I thought that instead, perhaps I could attend the party. After all, you're always telling me I should do more typically teenage things.
Look, you're a little bit, and she kind of like she spends some time like she's looking through her head for the right word. You're just a little bit, weird, Bailey. And, people might be put off by that.
And Bailey definitely just like bites down onto his lip. And he's like, I don't have to be weird. If that's not what you want, or if that's not what people want, I don't have to be weird. I can just be and he takes a moment, and I think he like reaches a hand through his hair and sort of musses it and moves it a little and looks up, and he is pretty attractive. And he's no Jason curls of golden gods, but and he's like sort of pouts his lips a little heavily at her.
Okay, so it sounds like you're trying to turn her on.
Yeah, he's trying to appeal to that a little.
Cool. So give me a 2d6, and then...
Are we using a shared roller, or can I just roll?
Yes. Let me make... Well, you can also just roll if you want. It's no need to use it. It's just there to help people. But let me copy that into the chat. It's over in safety otherwise.
Okay, it's in safety. Okay.
Yeah, I also just copied it into the chat now.
Okay, perfect. Grab that. Yoink. Let's go with dos. He gets a +1. That is a 10.
Yeah, so go ahead and take a string on Helen. And I think she gives you a little bit of, like, I think we see a little bit of a blush creep into her face as you give her those eyes. And then she kind of gives a huff and, like, looks away, like not really looking at you, but kind of just, like, to your side, like, over your shoulder.
Yeah.
And says, fine, I guess you can come, Bailey. Just remember, try not to be weird. And then she kind of gives another look at you, Jason, and says, and I look forward to seeing what you play tonight.
And I look forward to putting on a show.
I look forward to hearing your music, Jason.
And I hope you're not too normal. It's after all, a school for people with strange experiences. A little weirdness is always expected.
Yeah. A little weird.
I wanted to ask here, is this you trying to turn him on?
Yeah, I think that's fair if that's cool with you.
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
Yeah, that's a 12.
Take a string on Bailey.
And so, yeah, Bailey, you get to pick from one of those 3 options, which is to give yourself to him, promise something you think he wants, or get embarrassed and act awkward.
Yeah, so I think Bailey is gonna look at you, and he gets a little red, but he's like, I'm having a hard chair day. Do you mind if I just and from like a closet in the classroom, he sort of brings out what is essentially like a plush sort of cushion. And instead of maybe moving the chair away from the desk and having to deal with like disconnecting them, he just sort of puts the cushion next to Jason's seat and kneels down onto it pretty close, sort of offering himself over at Jason's side.
Yeah, excellent. And yeah, like I said, I think Jason does mostly just sprawls in his chair anyway. And I think he's not quite got his like hand on Bailey, but he's certainly got his fingers kind of hanging down by his side, kind of thing.
Oh yeah, I think Helen is just eyeballing the two of you as from her seat. And yeah, and then as we shift over to the camera on Grace, who is listening to her emails, I think, Grace, you feel someone just pluck one of your, like, is it a proper like earbuds, or are you actually wearing like a headset?
Oh no, she's not wearing headphones. Anyone who wants to can hear her email. She's reading it out loud. It's just that it's at super fast speed. So most people won't be able to understand it.
Somebody just comes in and just presses and just like stops your email from playing.
Oh, someone touched her or her things?
Yes.
Okay, that is either lash out physically or shut someone down. I don't know this
well, what are you doing immediately? What are you doing here? I can also say, like, I think the person also says something if you want to hear what they say, and then you can decide which of the two.
Okay, yeah. What do they say?
Because I think that it is who is it that we were just going into here? It is Luz.
Mm-hmm.
And she says, "Oh, Grace, I'm sorry about that, but it is a good timing though, because I want to talk to you about how you're handling the community garden for the school."
So yeah, that's a lash out physically because someone came up and touched her.
Yeah.
Her thing, and that is not appropriate. So she probably grabs her phone back and smacks their hand away is what she's going to try and do.
Oh yeah. And so I guess to clarify here, this could be also a shut someone down. I guess it depends on whether you want to actually cause physical harm to them, or if you want to like kind of socially put them in their place.
So I think that was very startling. And one of the things blind people have to deal with is people touching them.
That's fair.
A lot.
Mm-hmm.
So that is one of her buttons.
Cool.
So I don't think she is slapping her hand away to cause harm. She's just trying to stop the situation as fast as she can.
Yeah, this definitely sounds like a shut someone down then.
Okay. So yeah, it is what she is attempting to do is she is pulling her phone back. She is smacking the hand away, and in her coldest voice, she is saying, "Hands off."
Oh yeah. So you have that roll room there, right?
Oh, do I have an adder for this? I mean, I already have it at +2.
I think it's just that your move gives you a bonus when you keep your cool. This is not keep your cool. This is shut someone down.
Yeah. I have one that's about an extra thing for shut someone down. I do have ruling over ashes, which is when I retaliate with unnecessary force or overkill, which arguments could be made either way.
I leave that up to you. Do you think you are at this moment?
By Grace's frame of reference, no. That was completely inappropriate.
That's
fair. Should not have behaved that way, and this is inappropriate. And being really, really setting her boundaries really clearly and aggressively is in fact appropriate to the situation.
That's fair.
Okay, so I'm rolling 2d6 with +2. Is that the system?
Yes. Yeah. Oh wow! Getting all our good rolls up front to prepare us for our inevitable downfall. But that is a 13. So on a 13 for shutting someone down, You straight up on a 10 plus, you get to choose from one of the below and suffer no consequences for it. So they they can't lose a string on you because Luce has no strings on you, but you can get a string on her if you want. You can give her a condition, which is a bit basically they are fictional things that like how people view them or how they feel. And you can tag them at later points to give you +1 to your roll against them. Or you could take +1 forward against them. Or no, just +1 forward, it says.
So what are the conditions?
Conditions, just things you can make up. Like conditions here, like Luz could be like no boundaries. Like doesn't understand boundaries or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so would it be something like intimidated by Grace, or
we could just go with intimidated? Yeah,
ashamed of her behavior, or
yeah, either of those could work. What was the second one?
Ashamed.
Yeah, shamed could work. Do you want to go with shamed?
Sure.
Cool. And let me just make a note that she has that from now on. Or at least until somebody deals with it. Yeah, I think that she like snaps her hand back and says, "Oh, look, I'm fine. I'm sorry about that, Grace. Look, I had just wanted to ask about the community garden since I know you spend all of your time out there. Look, and you seem to be doing a really good job with it right now. It's just that me and some of the other folks were thinking maybe we could, plant some other things around to, make it, a bit nicer, like flowers or something like that."
You came up to me and touched my things because you want some fucking flowers?
Look, I said I was sorry, Grace.
You are done. Go.
And I think that she just kind of, you hear her definitely say in a very like stage whispery voice, like, "Well, that's what I get for trying to be nice."
Blind, not deaf.
And I mean, God, if I think that she says, "Look, I understand."
She's still here? Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Persistent, isn't she?
I mean, that's how we portray. That's how we've talked about her fake apologizing. Mm-hmm. I definitely think that she says, "I'm going to bring this up with the current advisor for the community garden, and we'll see about whether or not who she feels should be in charge of that from now on." And I'm wondering, who is the faculty advisor for the community garden?
Was that last a Stephen question to Marleigh?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Do we have much in the way of NPC staff yet?
No, we just have Mr. Montgomery.
Okay. We have someone who was actually no. No, I think our gardener person is just really a straight up gardener. Does not have connections to never went through a door.
Cool.
Just went to a regular, it's just a professional gardener type person. Let me Google a name. Need a name generator. It's always the hardest part for me.
Have you gone to Fantasy Name Generator? What kind of name do you
Roseanne
want?
Compton.
Cool. I definitely feel like that is a gardener name right there.
Mm-hmm.
Is that I mean, I know I use she, but if we want to revise that, we can. It's she, her.
Sure.
Cool. Advisor. Cool. Awesome. And I want to, as we kind of pan over then to the last of our group, I am wondering, I want to give you a little bit of, because you have to sort of describe yourself as being overlooked. I'm wondering if Leigh has been listening in on either of these conversations.
I think, well, yes, of course they have. I mean, sure. After all, they're a fan of Jason's, and if Jason's playing the guitar, Leigh will come over to just listen. And then the whole thing with the party started out, and they might have said something like, "Hey, can I come too?" And then was totally ignored, of course. But if nobody, but she didn't have the sensation that Leigh couldn't come, right? So yeah, that's going to be fine. And I think they were also there because of the strong emotions that were flowing around. That attracts Leigh like a moth to a flame. Just seeing if something falls out, which it never does, but you never know, right?
You know what this feels like? Is this sort of how Leigh like stares into the abyss? They kind of like leech off of other people's strong emotions.
A little, maybe. It's not like leeching off, though, really. But if people lose those emotions, people don't want them, right? It's not like they're just taking them. I don't know if they could, but yeah, I think. Let me check the whole gaze into the abyss. Yeah, huh. I wonder. I don't like the way Luz is handling the situation. Like, I mean, if you get told off, you go. That is a trigger for Leigh right here, because no, you don't stand around and squawk at people. So yeah, I think they will stay and they will try. If maybe Grace notices them, they will say, "Hey, Grace, I'm here, and I think you're handling the community garden just fine. Who needs flowers anyway?"
It's big enough for whatever she wants it to do. It wasn't really a community garden so much as I just started planting some things, and now suddenly it's like it's got signs and rules and crap. I don't care. She can just take it, and I can start planting again somewhere else.
Are you okay for that, then? I'm just if you need, I don't know, someone to help you out with this situation, I could try, I guess.
Well, if we could get a really large box and shove Luz into it and nail her somewhere else.
I don't think I'd be very good at getting people into a very large box, but I understand the feeling. Yes, she reminds me of one of my sisters. That one's also quite pushy.
Oh, does she like do the this is for your own good thing? Is it that kind?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. She used to drag me to parties and then forgot that I was there.
Oh, rude.
Yeah, well, people tend to forget that I'm here.
Yeah, I don't get why. You're obviously right here. I don't know. Okay.
Oh, I am just curious. That I don't this is just me rooting for messy connections here. I don't know why that sounds like certainly a teen romance, like turn someone on, if I've ever heard it.
Right.
I don't know why. You're just such a special person.
Oh, sure.
If that's cool with you, you're the one that like, do you think that would be fair here, Grace?
That would be fine. My hot stat is no good, but we can give it a go.
Cool. Give me a roll here, Grace. Okay. Oh man,
that's
that
a
is
3.
cool. And I'm wondering, what is it about Leigh that you find so like special, Grace?
Let's see. Yeah, Leigh just seems really considerate, possibly because she's so watchful. That Leigh actually notices things, which is a quality that Grace really appreciates. Like here, that whole showdown just went down. The only person who came and checked in with Grace was Leigh.
Cool. And so I almost forgot to bring up, you do get to mark XP because you get XP on a miss in Monsterhearts.
Okay.
We'll treat this as if Leigh had gotten the 10+ here. So Leigh actually gets a string on you, Grace. So go ahead and take that, Leigh. And Leigh, you can pick one of those options from the list for turn someone on. Or Grace. Grace. No, Grace picks one. Sorry.
Oh, Grace picks one?
Yeah.
I think Grace is an embarrassed and act awkward kind of person. Let's see. How would that go down? Wait, did that come out funny? I think that came out funny. Did that come out weird? I didn't mean it to be weird. I just made it weird, didn't I? I know I did. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm just really bad at people sometimes. I'm sorry.
There's a party at the boathouse tonight. I'm just saying. So I think I'll go, but I don't know. If you want to come, maybe? I don't know if that was weird. There's not supposed to be weird people there. I think maybe we should crash it. I'm not good at crashing parties. People never notice that I'm there. But they notice you.
Okay, that totally made her laugh. Yeah, I do draw attention. Whose party is it?
Helps.
Hellion is having a party. Oh, we have to go crash it. Jason's
going to perform.
Oh, I do like to hear him, as long as he doesn't talk. Okay.
I think that makes me
laugh. All right,
laugh.
let's go.
Laugh.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think that what we'll do here is kind of, I think to kind of, with the time we have left, that it would be cool to kind of well, unless anybody has, I'd say, some scene they really want to frame prior to this party to kind of jump us forward there and kind of play out the opening scene of this party with the time we have left. Does that work for folks?
So I will
Okay.
say, I do have one thing, sort of, kind of.
Sure.
So I guess my question is I think maybe towards the end of class, if they leave this class or go to this class or different things, Bailey may ask Jason if he could hang out with him at the party. If he'd be into that. He knows he has to sing and things like that and entertain, but would he maybe want to hang out?
Of course. I'm not sure exactly who's going to be there, but no, I'm fine with that.
Yeah, that sounds great. And I think you get maybe a glimpse of that adoration you so miss. That was something you were looking for in Bailey's eyes before he rushes off because he's got a scheduled walk to keep up with.
Awesome.
Cool. And so I think that as we kind of move forward into the party, I think that we kind of flash forward to the evening. And I think the sun has just begun to set over the water. I imagine that this is like a lake that is beside the school where the boathouse is located. And as the sun is setting, a kind of faint mist is coming in over from the water. And some of the kids from the school, maybe even a few folks from the surrounding town, from the nearby town, have come out to this party. And I'm wondering if you want to open us here. I'm wondering what does it look like? How does Jason set up for his performance?
Yeah, I think he's it's fairly simple. I think it's kind of classic acoustic guitar thing. It's probably got like a stool and like a in fact, yeah, probably doesn't even have any sort of amp in here because it's not that big a space, I don't think. I think so. I'm imagining like one of those, boathouses with obviously the sort of dock in the middle of it, and I think he's essentially set up at like the short end, sort of the bottom of the horseshoe, as it were, and I think has kind of fiddled around with a couple of like the security lights in here to create an approximation of a spotlight on where he's set up.
Yeah, and I'm wondering, do you want to go ahead and give us this haunting melody move, because this is like your thing, right?
Yeah, sure thing.
When you perform for a crowd, you roll hot. But I think based on how you roll here, we'll see.
Yes, yeah. How it's.
Yeah.
We got that one. That's a 9.
I mean, so you still perform well. You just don't get a ton of stuff.
Yes. Yeah.
So, which of those things from the list there are you picking?
I think. Oops, no, that's the wrong tab. I'm going to go for. Actually, no. I'll just look at my. I think someone in the crowd gives you a gift. That sounds interesting at the moment, as I don't have a specific.
Yeah, let me.
Thing in mind other than that. So yeah, I think that's an interesting one.
Cool. Yeah, I have a thought there. Let me take a look here. But why don't you describe for us what is it? How is your performance like? Kind of enthralling the crowd for the moment.
Yeah, I think it's probably. I think what Jason is playing at the moment isn't probably what you would think of as party music as such. It is again sort of fairly melancholy. Sort of acoustic guitar. He's singing, and I think there is an element of like loss and longing kind of thing to it, which, like I said, it's not really. Like it's not party music, but it is, I think, something that probably resonates with most, if not all, of the guests in attendance here, and I think that's kind of why it's kind of striking a nerve, catching people's attention at the moment.
Oh, I wonder if that might trigger my move, unresolved trauma, because I mean, you are reminding me of my unwilling return. So I'll give myself the condition yearning.
Mm-hmm. And that was actually something I was going to ask about, because it is also the mists, the crowd. And I think it is actually, as we kind of flit over to Leigh in this crowd, we almost lose them for a moment. But I think we see your eyes alight on something. And standing across from the crowd, you see the back of someone's head. And it's the back of, it reminds you, it looks like the back of your mother's head amid the crowd here, kind of standing out towards the edge of the docks.
But that's not possible. She's not here. She can't. And Leigh takes a step or two toward in that direction and then shakes themselves like, ooh, and takes another step backwards and looks kind of horrified, almost like, I fell into this trap before. I'm not going to do it again. I'm not.
And I guess I do want to ask, Grace, you were coming to this party with Leigh, right? I think Leigh, is this stuff you're saying out loud?
Sure, normally people don't notice when Leigh speaks out loud, so they do that a lot.
And Grace will say, "Who's here?"
There was someone who almost looked like my mother, and I saw them in the carnival, and I followed them out, and this one looked just like her, and it can't be. It's not possible that my mother isn't here. She's not. That's not her. And then I imagine that this person is gone right now.
Yeah.
Now, right? And she's gone now, and it's not. It's like something dragged me out of there or tricked me into getting out of there. I hate it. I want to be home.
Grace will hold out her hand, which Leigh can take if they want.
No, they won't. They will.
Okay.
They reach for it like some sort of a lifeline almost.
Okay.
I'm wondering here, because this is a little bit of a actually, I think
I would like to gaze into the abyss.
Yeah. How are you doing that? What does it look like as Leigh gazes into the abyss? Leigh?
Damn it, I'm talking and I'm muted. I'm sorry. I think what it looks like is that Leigh becomes even more sort of immaterial, almost translucent. And they feel like that. When if Grace holds their hand, they will notice that something is odd. It's not unpleasant. It's more like you're holding a hand that's less made of flesh and more made of mist, I guess. But yeah. And I'm rolling that with dark, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, there it goes. That's a 9.
Cool.
It's fine.
And on a 9, the abyss. So what actually, I always forget to ask this for gaze into the abyss rolls. What is it you're looking for?
I want to know who that person was. Yeah. I want to know who that person was.
Cool. And so the abyss shows you confusing and alarming visions, but you get your answer nonetheless. I think that what you see here is that as you are like staring out at the docks, you almost fade away a little bit, and you see almost a second world overlaid this one of people's kind of shades following after people that look just like them. And I think that they all kind of look at you and stare at you, and almost like they all want something from you, Leigh. They want you to release them. And I think that's when it occurs to you, what you're seeing is all that hurt they're carrying around with them. And I think that's when you figure it out, that this shade that you saw, this woman, it is your mother in a sense. It's the shade of her sadness that has latched onto you for some reason.
I think this is very disturbing because they are all looking at Leigh and they can see them. They can see Leigh. That's very disturbing.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Grace can hear Leigh mutter, because they're in the habit of muttering, something like, "No, stop looking at me. Stop looking. I can't help you. I don't know how. Go away."
Leigh, is it your door?
No, this is not my door. But it's almost like something followed me or dragged me. I don't. I think I need to listen to Jason some more. Can you make him play, please?
Um,
And I will give you a string
okay.
if you do that.
Okay.
I think I have one on you, right? Yeah, I think I have one on you. Yeah, I just got it. So yeah, I will give you a string to do that.
Okay.
Yeah, so I guess
can someone recap for me briefly how strings work?
So the way strings work is one of the things you can do with them. This is also there in the reference sheet under pulling strings. It's on the top right of that reference sheet. When you spend a string on someone, one of the things you can do is to tempt them to do what you want. And I guess what Leigh is tempting you here is to like get Jason to help by playing more music. Is for you to go do that, to get Jason to help.
Okay. I assume Jason has stopped in this context.
Yeah, I think that the set has ended, and I think we'll flip back to what is happening with Jason in the moment once you decide whether or not. And if you do it, then you get to mark an XP.
Okay. Grace will let go of Leigh's hand, but only because she is going to start clapping loudly and yell "Encore! Encore!" in the general direction she thinks Jason is in.
I think that what happens is I'm going to get a roll from you to see what happens there in a second. But I want to flip over to Jason because Jason is getting a gift here. And I think as the music plays, and I think, Bailey, you were on hand because you were going to hang with Jason, right? Bailey?
Yeah, so Bailey is sort of by the stage, or pretty close. Like it's not a stage, but like where Jason has staged himself. And he's sort of enjoying the music, clapping when it's appropriate, and trying to be normal-ish. You know, just trying to enjoy a party for a party, but also he's a little on edge because his master wanted him here, but he's a little unsure why.
Is this you gazing into the abyss, seeing what your master's goals here are?
I don't think so, actually. I think normally yes, but I think he's so distracted by Jason, and the connection, since it's only one string, is kind of a little tenuous right now.
Mm-hmm.
And so he's sort of almost a little too focused on Jason and Jason's performance.
Yeah, I think that you're distracted enough that, like, before you get a chance to go out and meet with Jason once his set ends, is that a kind of a like tall, reedy, kind of East Asian guy with kind of hair dyed a kind of patch of pinks and purples, like, steps out on stage. And I want to ask Jason, what does he have in his hands that, like, draws your attention? That it's something that is actually of value to someone like you?
Oh, that's a good question. I think actually, yeah, it's something fairly simple, but I think it is just like a bunch of flowers, like a bouquet.
Oh yes, and these are these are flowers that are eye-catching. They're not entirely... There's the feel of there's something not of this world about them. They have the taste of your home to them a little bit. And the guy kind of steps up to you, Jason, and says, well, my friend said that the guy putting on the show tonight was someone to listen to, but I didn't think that he, I see that he was not going anywhere near far enough in his praise. And he gives you a little bit of a crooked grin.
And I don't... Do I recognize him?
No,
or is
you
this someone?
don't.
Yeah.
I don't go to this school. I'm Mamoru. I'm one of the townies.
I didn't think I'd seen you around. And he'll very much return the grin. I would have remembered.
And I think he plucks a flower from out of the bouquet and kind of well, I'm glad to know I make an impression. And he kind of slips it behind one of your ears.
Yes, you certainly do, and you certainly know how to what's the word I'm looking for? To congratulate isn't quite the right word, but it will do. To it's hardly Carnegie Hall, but it's nice to get up in front of people like this and be appreciated.
And he leans in. Look, if you're looking for somewhere to really show off your music, what say we blow this place and I can show you some of the real venues out in town. And I think as he's saying that, I want to say Bailey.
Yeah, Bailey looks a little ruffled right now. And he's sort of making...
Go ahead.
Is gonna make his... he's watching and waiting, but it's clear his hackles are a little raised and he's not happy right now.
I think there is a little, once again, that voice just kind of says in the back of your head, I think that boy's giving Jason what he wants. And it's not you, Bailey. Do you want to be something that Jason wants? Or are you just going to be a baron?
And sort of he leans into a corner where someone else can't maybe hear him and say, I want to be what he wants.
And I think that, and this is, I was kind of bringing this up here because you do have that strings attached.
Yeah, I'm looking between strings attached and one of his other moves as I'm slowly looking through things real quick. But yeah, I think, yeah, you know what? Ooh, that's another option. Yeah, you know what? I think we'll start with that. He's gonna say, oh yeah, he wants this Mamaru guy to go away. He's in the way.
Mm-hmm. Cool. And I think that you do just hear, what I want is that flower from behind Jason's ear, Bailey. And I can make certain that Mamaru goes away and that you can get the time you want with Jason. I would just be careful of where you take him.
And that's okay. I don't want to. I know you got upset last time because I was bad. It's not. I was wrong with Leigh, but this is okay.
As long as you know to play by the rules, Bailey.
Yeah, if you just tell me the rules and I'll follow.
Look inside your pocket.
Yeah, and he'll reach into his pocket.
And I think you feel there are 2 tickets in your pocket. What's the name of the music venue that are on the tickets?
Ooh. I think it's tickets for a place called the House of Blues. It's like not like a huge place, but it's like, when like a lot, like there in a lot of cities, there's usually like the place where the big band event is held, and that's where the concert is. But then there's always that little place where like it's like the true artistry place that artists go that really actually only house about like 30 to 50 people. And it's where they usually go after their shows to sort of hang out, but then also play a little and sort of just do new stuff or whatever they like without having to be in front of like a giant crowd.
Mm-hmm. And then you hear the voice say, it's run by a friend.
Thank you, Master. And Bailey sort of like a smile sort of stretches his face, and he feels a little better, and he sort of starts striding in like a confident walk over to where Jason is. Uh, sorry, not to interrupt, but we had plans. And he's like looking sort of at Mamaru with with a big smile on his face, but it's also, and it's a real smile, but it's a little feral, almost.
Mm-hmm. It sounds like you're trying to shut someone down here.
Yeah, and you know what? I am gonna be shutting someone down. And I think I'm going to use Elsewise power to invoke a move that does not belong to me, which is, where is it? Sorry, I had it a second ago. It's not one I'm very familiar with because it's in our lovely Faradom book, but it's um,
Which playbook are you looking for?
sorry, I think I'm trying to figure out which one it was. I think it might have been a claws out. It's a Bakaneka move. So claws out. So I'm going to give Mamoru a string on him, but I'm going to add 3 to shut him down.
Cool.
So my master also gets a string on me because I am invoking a power that I do not have.
Cool. Awesome.
So that is with a d6, 2d6. And since I usually have a -1, but I now get +3, that is a +2. Ooh, just barely. That's a 7.
I think that Mamoru kind of backs off and kind of gives another of his lopsided grins and says, well, I guess some other time, Jason, it looks like you're a friend and you have some plans, and I'm giving you the condition needy.
Yeah. Okay.
And I think that that's when, Jason, you hear Bailey applauding and calling for another set. Do you give it, or do you
Grace was calling for another set? You
or
mean?
sorry, Grace, sorry.
I think Jason's going to turn to Bailey actually and say, "Do you think we have time for another song, or did you have plans for me?"
Singing makes you happy, right, Jason? I'd like to make plans with you, but why don't you do one more song and then we'll do something else. But first, and he'll reach up and he'll pluck the flower out of your hair. I'd hate for this to get damaged while you're playing.
Yeah. And I think, Jason will play one more song. I think this is probably a bit more upbeat. But yeah, he will give another song.
Cool. And I think as we fade out on this music beginning to play, we see that flower that Bailey has picked from behind your ear begin to decay and turn to ash in his hands. And from the audience, we see Mamoru. And he almost, a bit like a Cheshire cat, fades away. And the last thing we see of him is his grin. And I think that that's where we end things for the day. Thanks anyone for watching, and thanks all of you for playing. I had a lot of fun. We'll just end the broadcast here.